Okay, you're going to learn something new today. This is the first sheet we're on. Take it off, okay? You don't the back side, I don't know why that's on there, okay? So, you're going to have this on the whole assignment, okay? Now, simplify the expression. You are not allowed to use your calculator on this, okay? This is something we use in Algebra 2 constantly. It's something Mr. Larson uses in geometry, so whatever you take after this year, you're going to need to know how to do this. You are not going to just, for example, square root 63 and write that. That is not what simplify means, okay? If it said evaluate, that's what you do, but it says simplify it. Now, here's how you simplify a square root. These are the numbers that have perfect square roots, okay? By the way, I also add the square root of 1 equals 1. I forgot that. Square root of 1 is 1. Okay, square root of 1 is 1 because 1 times itself is 1. What times itself is 4? It'd be 2. What times itself is 9? 3 times 3. What times itself is 16? What times itself is 25? What times itself is 36? What times itself is 49? And it goes on, okay? Now, the first one's pretty easy because you're going to look at this list, square root of 100, and that's on here. It equals 10. So when the square root's actually here on the paper, you just put equals 10 because 10 times 10 is 100. But 63. And so you're like, well, 64 is close. No, I didn't say estimate it, okay? 63 is not on here. It is not a perfect square root because all these are your perfect squares, okay? So all these are called perfect squares, okay? Because exists a whole number times itself that can multiply to it. But 63, not so much. So here's how you simplify it. You're going to put a division sign after your 63. And you're going to rewrite it in a square root times another square root. And here's what you do to divide. You go 63 divided, okay? Now take from the bottom up, take the first number that's actually smaller than 63. Because all these numbers, I don't want to divide 63 by numbers that are bigger than it, okay? I want to find numbers that would actually go into 63. So I start at 49, that's the first number smaller. That's a decimal, that doesn't work. Now punch in 63 again and hit divided by. Now try 36. That's a decimal, it does not work. 25. That's a decimal, it will not work. 16. Decimal, will not work. 9. Cha-ching, didn't get a decimal, so here's what I write. I write the number I divided by first, and then the number I got as an answer second, okay? You're just breaking that into 9 times 7. Now here's why you do that. Because the square root of 9 now turns into 3, okay? 3, and this just stays the way it is. The square root of 7. That's how you do that, okay? It's going to take a bit to get in the groove, though. 200, okay? What times itself is 200? Well, good question. It's not on here. So I divide, okay? And I'm trying to write it in 2 square roots. So I start on the bottom. 200 divided by 144. Decimal, we cannot use 144. It can't be a decimal. Divided by 121. Decimal, you can't use 121. 100, cha-ching, no decimal. So I put the number I divided by first and the result second. Now the result stays there. It just will not, nothing will happen to that. The square root of 100 is equal to 10, so I replace the square root of 100 with 10. Okay, it's in the front. You can put a times beside it. Then you're done. You can't times the 10 and the 2 because the 2 is a square root, the 10's not. You're done. That's simplified. It's like you're trying to get as much of the 200 outside of the square root as you can, okay? 45, does that pop up here? No, it doesn't. So I put divided by, and I write 2 square roots. So let's set it up. 45 divided by 36, nope. By 25, nope. By 60, nope. By 9, cha-ching, it's 5. So I put 9, 5. It's like you're rewriting 45 as 9 times 5, but they're square roots, not just 9 and 5. Well, this right here stays the same, the square root of 5, but the square root of 9 is actually equal to a whole number, 3. So 3 square root 5. Okay, next up, 112. 112's not here, so divide it, okay? And you're trying to rewrite it in 2 square roots, okay? So I take 112, okay, divided by 100. Nope, because that's your first number smaller. 112 divided by 81. Nope. 112 divided by 64. Nope, that's a decimal. 112 divided by 49. Nope. 112 divided by 36. Nope. 112 divided by 25. Nope. 112 divided by 16, cha-ching. So I put 16 and 7. 16 first, 7 second. The square root of 7 stays, but the square root of 16 is equal to 4. Okay. 343. Okay. Obviously not on here, so we divide into it. So I start 343 divided by 144. No. Divided by 121. No. Divided by 100. No. 81, no. Nope. 49, cha-ching. Okay, so I put 49, 7. Now this one just stays in its square root, but this one, the square root of 7 equals 7. So it's 7 square root 7. Okay, now forget about the 4 out here, okay? Forget about the 4. We will deal with that here in a bit, but just look at the 12, okay? 12's not on here. It's a smaller number, so it won't take as long. So I punch in 12 divided by 9. Nope. 12 divided by 4, cha-ching. 4, 3. So this square root of 3 stays the way it is, okay? And that square root of 4 turns into 2. Don't write 4. The square root of 4 equals 2. Now, about that 4 that was in front, you put a times 4, and you times these outside numbers. 4 times 2 is 8, square root 3. That's all you have to do with that front numbers. At the end, whatever comes outside, you times it. Okay, last one on this packet. Divided, okay? You forget about the 8. We'll bring back the 8 once we get the 2 square roots set, okay? So 80 divided by 64. Nope. Divide by 36. Nope. Divide by 25. Nope. Divide by 16, cha-ching, you get 16, 5. So that's gone, because that equals 4, okay? So it's 4 square root 5, but don't forget there was an 8 there, so I got to times the 8 and the 4. 4 times 8 is 32. Okay? Now, I'm also going to put another one just to remind you, especially on problem number 1, okay? Let's say I have the square root of 81. Well, when 81's actually here, I just write equals 9, and that's the answer, Okay, so don't forget about that. Don't just set up the 2 square roots when the number's on the sheet, okay? Pause the video and do the 8 problems. Let me know if there's any trouble. Remember, don't forget the 2 and the 3 at the end there. Okay, now you're going to do the same thing, but now you got letters and exponents inside of the square root. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to make a square root here. And you're going to put the square root of 8 by itself, the square root of x to the 5th by itself, and the square root of y to the 6th by itself. So 8. Same way you just did it. So divide into the 8, because it's not here, so you need to rewrite it. It's not a perfect square where I get the number right away. So 8 divided by 4 would be 2. Okay, so I put a 4 and a 2. Now, cross that one out because that equals 2. And here's what happens. We put the 2 outside of the root and this 2 here inside of the root. Okay? Actually, give yourself some more room than I did. Okay? Now, here's how you do variables and powers. X to the 5th means x times x times x times x times x. You don't know what x is, but you know there's 5 of them multiplied. Now, it's a square root. So put a square root over 2 of them. And every time you can get 2, an x comes to the top, and it's outside of the square root now. Another 2, another x will come outside. I can't get 2 out of that, so that x right there stays inside. Now these x's on top, how many of them did I put? I put 2, so x to the 2nd is outside. Now y to the 6th. 6 of them, 2 at a time. And every time you get a group of 2, a y comes out. So that's 1 y out. There's another y out, y to the 2nd power. And there's a 3rd y out. There's none remaining, so y to the 3rd power is outside. You do not have any y's inside because there wasn't one left like there was with the x. Okay, next one. So we got the square root of 25, the square root of x to the 6th, the square root of y to the 8th. 25, oh, it's on here, so you put equals 5, and when that happens, that goes out. 5's out, we're not going to have a big number inside. X to the 6th. 2 at a time. X, X, and X. None left. That's 3 X's. These ones up top go to the outside. There's 3 of them, so it's X to the 3rd power. Y to the 8th. Y up top, because you could break up a square root into. None left over, that's 4 of them, y to the 4th. Now you're like, what do you put inside? Nothing. When you don't have anything outside, you get rid of the square root. And that's your answer right there. Okay. Next up, square root of 18, square root of x to the 7th, the square root of y to the 9th. So 18 is not on the list, so I divide into the 18. So 18 divided by 16 is a decimal. 18 divided by 9 is 2, so you put 9, 2. And that then the square root of 9 becomes 3. It doesn't stay 9, okay? This one stays, so 3 is outside, 2 is inside. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 7 factors. So x comes to the top, x comes to the top, x comes to the top, and there's going to be an x inside. Okay. Now I get 3 full factors, 3 of them. So x to the 3rd. Y to the 9th. Y to the top. Y to the top. Y to the top, y to the top. Sorry, buddy, you stay inside. That's 4 full factors of y. y to the fourth. Now you're like, how does that work? Well, if you have y to the second and the square root, they cancel, and then it becomes just y. That's how that works, because y times y is y to the second, but a square root and a second power cancel. Okay, so square root of 72, square root x to the fifth, and square root y to the first, okay? 72 is not seeing it, so I got to do the division. So we'd start at 64. Decimal. Decimal. Okay. 36, 2. Okay. So square root of 36 is 6. So 6 is out. Remember, don't leave that, don't put a 36 out. You turn the square root of 36 into 6. 2's in. Okay. Okay, so x, sorry buddy, you stay in prison, okay? Now, we got x to the second, not to the fourth, because those cancel out and they come x. Now, y to the first is y, sorry buddy, you're inside, okay? Okay, let's move right along. Square root of 36, square root of x to the fifth, the square root of y to the second. 36 is on here, you just put equals 6. You don't start dividing, okay, when it's on the list. And that, it means it goes out, okay. X to the fifth. Okay, x, tough luck, buddy, okay. X to the second. Okay, just a y out. You don't have any y's left, so it'll be a y outside. Okay, so we got the square root of 80, the square root of x6, the square root of y to the fourth. Well, even though 81's close, you cannot just put equals 9. You have to divide. Sorry. Okay. So 80 divided by 64, decimal, 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 whole numbers. You got 16 and 5. So that's 4. Remember, don't keep it 16. That equals 4. 4 out, 5 in. Okay. X to the top, x to the top, x to the top, no x is left, so x third. Y to the top, y to the top, y second then. No y's, so just the 5 in the radical. Square root and a radical kind of mean the same thing, okay? Square root 30, okay? 30's not here, so we divide. 30 by 25, nope. 30 by 16, nope. 30 by 9, nope. 30 by 4, nope. Well, it's going to divide by 1 up at the top, okay? So you can do 1 and 30 if you want, okay? Because the square root of 1's 1. So you can put a 1 in front and a 30, but when you put a 1 in the front, you should probably get rid of it. You don't need it there. It's kind of useless. So really, it just stayed in, okay? So x to the 7th and y to the 3rd. X top, x to the top, x to the top. Sorry, buddy, you're in still. 1, 2, 3, x to the 3rd. Y to the top. Sorry, buddy, you're in. Okay? That y right there goes outside. You can put the 1. I'm not going to count it wrong. Most people don't, though. Okay, 24. Not here. I know it's close to 25. That doesn't count. Okay. So 24 by 16. Nope. 24 by 9. Nope. 24 divided by 4. Cha-ching. 4 and 6. Again, don't put 4 and 6. The 6 stays, but the 4 goes to 2. 10 of them. X to the top, X to the top, X to the top, X top, X top. Well, there's no X's inside, but there's 5 factors of X outside. X to the 5th. Y to the top, Y to the top, Y to the top. Sorry, buddy, you're in. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Y to the 3rd out. Okay. That's a wrap, Jack.